Welcome to the Denton Vibe with Diva Girl Ellie, powered in part by Classic of Denton.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us here at DentonRadio.com on the Denton Vibe with Diva Girl Ellie. I hope you guys are having a wonderful evening tonight. It is beautiful weather out on the square, so thanks for being here. And tonight I have a special guest, Philip Howard of Native Creations, and he's going to talk to us about his artisan work and his craft. So I'm so glad you're here. Thank you, Philip.
Halito Amakana Chematukma.
Thank you. Fine. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Thank you. I learned a new language or a phrase.
A phrase in Choctaw.
Nice.
So,
tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I was born in Denton. I've been here my whole life. And when I was born, McKinney Street was a dirt road that led all the way to the courthouse.
Oh, wow.
So it's changed over the years.
Yes, it has. Very, many changes happening.
Right. And so I went to Denton High, graduated from Denton High, and then I've taken courses at North Texas and TWU, and
wow,
mostly arts.
So you're one of the VIPs here in Denton.
Oh, right.
Yeah, you're running the gamut everywhere.
Right. And so we just met all of the instructors, and it was well known around
mm-hmm.
the universities.
Mm-hmm.
So, but we've been working hard on getting our stock ready for the Denton Community Market.
Definitely.
And we have had great response.
I would imagine you have a very beautiful craft. So tell me a little bit about your culture. Obviously, it's called Native Creations.
Right.
So that would mean...
Well, I'm Choctaw, and so I rely a lot upon my heritage put into my work. And we do a kind of amalgamation of
mm-hmm.
different types of Indian or Native American beadwork. And so you'll find something from each culture, not just Choctaw.
Okay. So one of the things that caught my attention at the Denton Community Market was the fact that it was so vibrant and it was very beautiful and authentic looking.
Right.
And so when you go to your stand at the Denton Community Market, you do see the authenticity of the products that you're providing, and that's what drew me in. And obviously when I asked you, if you made these, you were like, yeah, everything's handmade, and I was just in awe. I mean, they're beautiful, and obviously you guys can see some of the work that's sitting on the table, and everything is hand done or produced.
It's all hand produced and time consuming,
mm-hmm.
and we try to keep our prices in a range that is available to the public.
Yes.
But we love doing what we do.
I can tell, and it's very beautiful, and something representative of your culture is something that I believe gets a lot more heart and soul into it. I mean, it's in you, within your heart. So, tell me how you started on this. I mean,
well,
let's start from the beginning.
The beginning, last year, our last season, I started out with little medicine bags,
mm-hmm.
and I made hundreds of medicine bags, and so. That worked well for one season,
mm-hmm.
but we going into
really
the second season, we decided to really go out on a limb and start making arrows and earrings and bracelets, necklaces, you name it.
Mm-hmm.
We've made it, and I think that you can see our devotion to the culture in our beadwork.
Very much so. So what made you or what inspired you to start bead making or beadworking?
Well, several years ago, I started doing loom beading,
mm-hmm.
and I was making long, big pieces. And so when Dwayne came into the picture, he was interested in learning how to do that. And
mm-hmm.
so I taught him, and he was an excellent student and really outdid the teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've really gone to making things that are vibrant and exciting and really what people are looking for. And so we enjoy it. The earrings, I do the pouty stitch earrings and keychains, and those have been very popular.
Yes.
And they're very beautiful, and they have a lot of soul to them.
Yes, they do.
And you can feel it when you touch them. And that's something that is so interesting about all of our work, is that it's very tactile. And the earrings are made out of porcupine quills.
Oh, wow.
And that's a very Native American object to use. And you take on the spirit of the animal when you do that. And so the porcupine quill earrings are very popular, and we just really are beginning to really open up our minds to new things that we'll have ready for next season. And so,
I'm excited to see what you guys come up with for next season.
Dog collars and
wow,
tomahawks and pipes and different things like that.
Definitely.
And so we're very excited to have that opportunity. The Denton Community Market is a fabulous outlet.
Yes, it is.
And anyone who is an artist, who does a craft, no matter how menial you may think it is something that someone's going to like.
Definitely. There's always going to be, a beginning for every artist.
Right.
And a lot of people are hesitant to dive into something like a community market, but if you really think about it, it is one of the most nurturing environments for an artist.
It is.
For someone who wants to grow their craft, and it does push your boundaries to try to become a better person, because then you get instant feedback from people saying, do you have this, or what would you be able to do this? And you challenge yourself to say, you know what, come back next week and I may have that.
And when we promise we'll have it next week, if we have to stay up 24 hours, we will have it the next week. But like I said, we started out with just something so simple. And if you have something that you make, really go to the people who are over the market and show them your work and explain to them what you have in mind to produce. And they're very, very mindful and welcoming to beginning artists in Denton.
That's awesome. And I'm so glad that you are a part of the Denton Community Market. It's a wonderful place. And I'm so glad that I found you there, because I obviously am so impressed with your work and the authenticity of it, obviously. And being Native American, it's a huge deal of what you're making. So the beauty of it is just obviously written all over your work. So what inspired you to start doing bead making?
Bead making, just as a cultural thing, we started making just simple runners of beaded work that I used on my cane and different things like that. So the more I involved that I got in with it, the opportunities and the variations upon a theme really came to us in a very good way.
Yeah.
And so I started doing it really as a way of expressing myself and doing it in a way that was culturally inherent. And so I think that has been the biggest part of us, what we do.
Well, like we said before, or like I stated before, it is part of your heart. It's a part of your soul. It's who you are. So obviously that translates very well to your product. I know as a painter and as a Mexican American, a lot of the stuff I paint, there's always going to be some sort of influence of that, of who I am and my heritage in the stuff I paint.
Right.
So I feel that it's more true to me when I represent that in my artwork.
Right.
So I definitely see such a beautiful touch of your culture, and it obviously everybody wants to have something that's authentic,
Right.
you know, versus something you buy at the store that's mass produced.
Right. We've
So-
had people come and ask for dream catchers,
Oh,
which
wow.
I do not make dream catchers. And they said, we only want it from a Native American.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I've tried and tried and tried, and it's out of my wheelhouse. It's something that I just cannot do. But we try to do stuff that people will like.
Mm-hmm.
And we will also do work. If you have something in mind,
Mm-hmm.
it may not even have dawned on us
Mm-hmm.
to make it, but you come in and say, I would like to have so and so made.
Mm-hmm.
We're more than happy to
accommodate that.
to accommodate that person, and possibly start off a new line for us just because one person came in and said, I need this and y'all don't have it.
Definitely.
So it's opened up a great response to the public.
Well, that's wonderful, because I remember, like we were talking about earlier before the show, that I happened to be wearing a little Mexican woven bracelet, and you had admired the pattern on
Pattern,
it,
right.
and you relate to that because it's part of, you know, this one was different culture but the same vein of artistry. So immediately I was like, oh, that would be cool too. And one of your beaded, you know, because that was obviously string,
Right.
and yours are all bead and stuff.
Right.
So I was thinking that would have been a really nice touch.
Well, the beadwork is something that is so recognizable
As your culture.
as a cultural item, and so we work with that, and we work with the people at the market, the Denton Community Market, and they're so receptive to whatever we bring in. They're so excited to see something new, and they're excited when people come in who have we need more cultural
I agree.
items there.
I think it's wonderful that you guys are selling the culture there in your artistry. You know, obviously another thing that caught my attention when I was at the Denton Community Market and saw your stand for the first time was the authentic headdress that you had there,
Right.
the Indian headdress. It was gorgeous, beautiful.
Thank you.
And you have it there, and it's a massive piece of artwork because everything on there is handmade.
It's all handmade.
I mean, it was, you know, I wish we could have brought it in here, but it's so massive.
Right.
And stuff like that is just eye-catching because you don't see that everywhere.
No, we decided to do the headdresses, and each one took about a week to
Wow.
produce, and it starts from the very innards of it on out.
Yeah.
It's all hand done. The beadwork is all hand done, of course, but each feather is wrapped by hand, and so it is a piece of artwork.
Yes, it's definitely a very time-consuming task. It's not something that you're going to hot glue a feather to another piece. It is hand-woven, you know, beaded work by hand. It's an intricate, detailed artwork that is
Right.
just massive, and I was so in awe of that. In fact, every time I'm in front of one, I mean, it leaves me very, very amazed at the detail that goes into something that big,
Right.
to be done by hand.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, it's very beautiful.
That's a very nice compliment. We like to get feedback.
Mm-hmm.
So if you come to our booth, give us feedback on what you see. And like I said, if you have something in mind, definitely go ahead and tell us about it, because
Yeah.
we're more than open to do any kind of thing that will
Custom made.
custom made, but in the realm of the Native American
style and
and
authenticity.
authenticity.
So when you do one of these, and I see that you have different patterns, obviously, all of them are slightly different, and then you have different band widths. Speaking of the bands,
Right.
not Wi-Fi or anything,
Right.
but Tell me the process, or share with us the process that you go through for one of
Well,
these.
like on these are wraps, and you wrap it around your wrist and wrap the little tie there. But the process is beaded, and then it's hand sewn onto a piece of goat skin.
Nice.
Then another layer of goat skin is put on, and they're very sturdy. They're very comfortable, and it's probably one of our most popular items that we sell is the wrap bracelets.
It's very pretty.
And
One of the things I noticed was the comfort. And actually, you gifted me this one, which is a very beautiful piece that I got to pick out.
You got to pick out, and it looks beautiful on you.
Thank you. And obviously, the turquoise and the burnt red and the pumpkin color is just beautiful. And I like it because of the color combination that reminds me of the culture.
Right.
So thank you very much for that gift.
Oh, you're more than welcome.
But you guys can actually contact Philip and Dwayne.
Right.
To customize anything that you would like to see as far as colors.
Right.
And obviously there's a plethora of patterns that you can choose from. And also if for example, like the day that I walked in with the bracelet and the different pattern that you guys liked. So if you have something that you already have a pattern of and then you want to choose beaded colors, you can easily come in and
pick. You can say, I need something to go with this outfit, which we've had people bring in. I need something to go with this outfit, and we'll come up with a design and colors. We have hundreds and hundreds of colors of beads.
I can imagine.
It's a massive undertaking in our bead room. But the nice thing about this is that you're getting a handmade product. And in an age where everything is so mass produced, it's nice to have something that is produced one at a time, and it takes time to make.
I was just going to ask you, how long does it actually take you to make one of these?
Well, several hours go into the beading, and then the work, say on the wraps, there's 3 hours of work in that. So it's time consuming, but it's a labor of love.
Yes,
it
I would
really
imagine
is.
so. And I would imagine that once you're in the zone of making one of these or hand beading, you kind of just zone out. It's almost therapeutic, and I think a lot of the art that we create or that we do as an artist is very therapeutic.
It's very therapeutic.
You get lost in your craft, which is a really awesome thing. If you really zone out while you're creating art, then you're achieving, because it is self-therapeutic, and that's what you want. And then you want to be able to give of yourself to other people by sharing your art, and this is definitely a part of that. So
and like I said, this is a small smattering of what we have, and things that we hope to have next year. And the Christmas market is coming up.
That's right.
And it's going to be at the Denton Arts Council building right here on Hickory.
Yes.
And it's going to be a good representation of the market. It was a small market, but it's definitely going to be the best of the best.
And that's one of the things that I love about Denton, is that a lot of people come specifically to Denton, or they are here in Denton, and they know that if you want to get a special gift for someone, you shop small. You shop, small business. And obviously the Denton Radio Center is here in the Welcome Center, and there's all kinds of local artisans, and you shop local, you support local. We have plenty of that here. So, when you go to these craft fairs or to these events where you guys are setting up, it is a way to support local business owners.
Right.
And we're all about that.
I totally agree with you on that, because it's so important to do that, because otherwise we're just making this for ourselves, and which we do. If we didn't sell a thing, we would still be happy.
Yeah.
But it's such a joy to see somebody get joy
Yeah.
out of a piece of work that you've done.
Yep.
And it's surprising. People will come in and say, "I bought this here. I bought this from you."
Yep.
And it's a very rewarding feeling.
Yes,
And,
definitely. Well, it's just like when you cook. You want to cook and share your food with people, and you kind of hang there waiting to see if they're going to like your food. And once they give you that satisfaction of happiness to experience your whatever you cooked,
Right.
you're satisfied.
You're satisfied.
So when you see somebody leaving with one of your bracelets and they're excited, or I'm going to be back next week to get another one,
Right.
then you know you've done your job as an artisan. So
Right.
it's really easy to appreciate that whole process.
It is.
Because it is a time-consuming art. I would only imagine. Of course, I always talk about how if I create something or one of my paintings, I've never sold one or given one away. Well, I've given one away, but given several away. But I'm so attached to them, like they're babies or
Well,
something.
that's it's the same way with this.
Yeah.
You, especially a new design,
Definitely.
you really get into it and own it, and you kind of hate to let it go.
Definitely, especially if it's just surprises you and awes you. There's certain
Right.
things that you do, you're going to be in awe of yourself.
Right.
And when you do that, you're just like, okay, take a million pictures. Because if this one goes, I got to make sure I can, duplicate it and whatnot.
Right, I can totally understand because I paint also.
Oh, nice.
And none of my paintings I've ever sold because I have
an
such an attachment to them.
Yeah.
And with starting out with this, it was hard to let it go, but you saw the joy that it brought people, and it makes you feel that joy also.
It is fulfilling. I would be curious to see your paintings.
Oh, I'll show you someday.
Okay, please share that with me because I think they would be just as beautiful as this. So you're so lucky to be a part of the Denton Community Market. What's the experience like being amongst all the other vendors and just being amongst other artists?
Well, you become a family up there. You really do. You every morning, every Saturday morning, we get there about 7, and we can't wait to see certain people that we
That's
become
awesome.
friends with, and when they're not there, we're worried about them. And
Definitely.
and it is a family affair, and I think if a person is interested in displaying and selling their work, it's a great way to do it.
Definitely.
Because it's not about the money, it's about
The growth. Yeah, as an
and
artist.
as an artist, and the people up there are just incredible. They are there to meet your every need. And if you have a problem, you can go to them, and they are so receptive.
I think the biggest problem for me, if I were to have a tent there, would be that kettle corn being too close to me.
Right.
It's so addicting. It is so addicting.
It is. And there's the Muffin Man.
Oh, nice.
And he does these incredible muffins. And so
Of
that's where
course.
my money goes. All of my money goes to
the muffin
muffins. So there are so many different things there that if you go, you're not going to be disappointed.
Definitely. I'm never disappointed. And sometimes you are there and you're like, I'm only going to spend this much. Please do not make me go over that budget. It's so easy to just get wrapped up in all the beauty of the stuff there.
Right.
I mean, every time I go, there's something different. But I can only imagine just being in a place full of artists like that, and not just artists. There's other food vendors and whatnot.
Food vendors, right.
But just a feeling of growth and constantly
Challenging each other.
Yeah.
You can't wait to see what the person has made the week before, during the
Definitely.
week. And it's kind of that way. The people come over to the booth and say, "You got anything new?"
Yeah, and it's so addicting too, because obviously you're in an artist community.
Right.
I'm in an artist community as well, and it's gotten to the point where now I want a piece of art from each of my friends, because it's like, well, I really resonate with you. This is how we connect, and this is something that of beauty, and I
Right.
want to own a piece of that. And so I know I have several friends that are painters, and I mean, I sit there. I have one of the paintings. My friend Iris Candelaria, she's a painter, and I have one of her paintings on. I have two, but one of them specifically in the bedroom, and I can stare at that painting all day long.
Right.
And I will always be amazed at the beauty of her.
Right.
and the beauty of her painting. And just to have it hanging there, it just brings me so much satisfaction.
Well, it's amazing. We have several clients that come every week to see what we have new because they have to have a new piece.
Yes.
And they get so much joy out of it
Yeah.
that it makes it so worthwhile. And people do appreciate your work, and they understand how much work goes into it. And I think people in Denton, because of the universities, are well versed in techniques and what goes into making a piece, and they have an understanding that is.
It's a very in-touch community.
It is.
I mean, we obviously have double universities here, and you would think, there's a gap difference in age, but it's really not like that. There's a mutual appreciation,
Right.
and they're very supportive, of each other. The age differences
Right.
here, you will find all of our ages at a certain place at different times, so we're very, very cohesive in that
Right.
sense. And like you said, they're in tune with all the techniques because they're learning stuff. And then you have the older generation that has brought the wisdom and the knowledge. And it's just a beautiful union of minds, basically,
Right.
and art.
It is.
So I really appreciate that about our town. It's very accepting in that sense. So if somebody were to contact you to have one of these made for them or commissioned,
Right.
how would they get a hold of you?
Well, you can call on the phone. It's 940-218-7031. Or you can contact me at philiphoward31@aol.com.
Okay. So it's your cell phone number and your email address. And you guys, these are going to make wonderful gifts for Christmas or a birthday. It's very personal. It's very authentic, very beautiful. I would highly encourage you to reach out to them or visit them at the Denton Community
Yes,
Market.
come by, and we love to see new faces.
Yes, definitely. And before I go any further, we do have some North Texas Mean Green tickets here. So if you like, share, and comment what your favorite Thanksgiving meal is, they will be selecting someone to give away these tickets to. So please like, share, comment your favorite Thanksgiving dish. Obviously, you would have to comment that. So we'll be looking forward to giving these North Texas Stadium tickets out at Apogee. So definitely hit us up for that on the comments and stuff. So thank you so much, Philip, for being here.
Oh, my pleasure.
Thank you to your business partner, Dwayne, for having you guys set up and ready to show off this beautiful artwork that you do with the beading. Thank you for bringing this authenticity to the Denton community.
Well, it's my pleasure.
It's very well appreciated, and I am so happy that you were my guest tonight on the Denton Vibe with Diva Girl Ellie.
Pisali Yachiki.
Thank you.
That means have a good day, and it was a pleasure meeting you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. You guys tune in next week as we do another show here at the Denton Vibe on dentonradio.com. Thank you so much. You guys have a great week.
Well, thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the show. Be sure to check out dentonradio.com for new Denton artists and where they're playing next. While you're surfing the internet, make sure you check out our friends Classic of Denton at classicofdenton.com.